Chilekwa Mumba grew up in the Konkola district of Zambia. Just outside of his hometown sit the massive Konkola Copper Mines, with an 11-square-mile copper operation that includes a smelter, a sulfuric acid plant, a tailings leach plant, a refinery, and the world's second-largest open-pit mine. It is the biggest employer in Zambia.
You have a thriving operation on one end, and yet right immediately next to the mine, you see people are not living the way we should live. People's lives were disturbed because of pollution by the mine. It was absolutely shocking to me. Something has to be done about it.
In 2004, after UK-based Vedanta Resources took over the mine, local communities first noticed contamination in the Kafue River and its tributaries, on which they rely for drinking, fishing, bathing, and agriculture. The river emitted foul odors. Fish were dying in large numbers along its banks. Crops and livestock were decimated, and local villagers suffered from severe health issues.
I became an environmental activist quite by accident. Having learned of the trauma around the farming community, I started to look at environmental law firms. I wrote to almost 100 of them to get justice for those affected communities.
Even though a previous court case in Zambia against the mining operation had failed, Chilekwa was determined to bring Vedanta Resources to court in the UK. Lee Day, a prominent UK-based law firm, agreed to take on the case. Chilekwa began arranging meetings between community members and the lawyers.
I think the foremost issue was getting the communities to believe that something could actually be done about it. I had to work quite closely with the community and get their trust. It was a challenge because there are always people saying they can't fight such a huge corporation, it's impossible, they're wasting your time.
Chilekwa informed villagers about the lawsuit and helped gather water samples from the river and blood samples from residents, all while fighting against disinformation about the lawsuit and the sampling needed to make the case. In 2017, he and a lawyer from Lee Day were arrested while meeting with community members.
I just had this drive in me that we won't fail. Justice will somehow, some way be attained for these communities. It got my heart and it became personal, a personal fight for me. And from then on, I haven't looked back.
In April 2019, the UK Supreme Court found that Vedanta could be held accountable in UK court for environmental damage from the copper mines operations. And in 2021, Vedanta settled and provided financial compensation for nearly 2,000 people from the 4 villages near the mine.
It brightened up the whole community. For me, the most important part of the settlement is how it is going to end up educating a whole generation of kids who have even a greater impact in the future.
The Vedanta case set legal precedent and is already being applied in UK courts to hold companies accountable for their overseas environmental destruction.
We cannot overstate the importance of taking care of the environment. If we protect our environment, we're protecting our future. And we've been given a responsibility that we just don't look at the now, but look ahead for those who will come past us.
For outstanding environmental achievement for Africa, the 2023 Goldman Environmental Prize is awarded to Chilekwa Mumba, Konkola District, Zambia.